Hi, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. We are going to continue, and it's the last episode of 2022, and it's the last episode of our 36th stratagem. I congratulate you if you hold on to this far. I mean, for me, it's a learning journey because even if some of the expressions or some of the strategies used here are still pretty much alive and commonly referred to, something like essentially 走为上策, like the first thing you do is to run away, to escape from a trouble or risky situation, or something like 声东击西 or 美人计, like all of that are commonly used still in our language pretty much up in life. But there are other situations when it's first time for me as a native speaker to learn one expression, and it's collected into the 36 stratagems. So if without showing you this, going through this, I wouldn't even make this discovery myself. So thank you for staying with me. And okay, yesterday we talked about 连环计, which is kind of placing your bets on the reaction from your enemy. You know they are going to behave in a certain way, respond to your strategy, and then you already plan out your resources directed to their future response. I mean, that's basically outsmart your enemy, right? So we use that as linked rain. So 连环 means one after another. We use connected rings instead of dominoes, because domino is a Western thing, right? But we're talking about the same thing. It's like one is connected to the other and one leads to the other. So this sequential of steps are how you're going to eventually trick your enemy, and they lose ground one by one and eventually being, outpowered by you. And I mean, really it's outsmart. It's not outpower. The whole 36 stratagem is to reduce the loss on your side, increase the loss of your enemy side. Instead of going for direct battle, use strategies. Okay, the last strategy we're going to talk about today is 假道伐虢. Okay, this character, if I don't go through this program, I wouldn't even pay attention. I mean, I probably still don't remember it. It's called 国. Whatever that is, I don't see it in the contemporary Chinese, but it was a ancient country name. It's probably a small kingdom, and whose family name was Guo. So that's the name of the country, the kingdom. Okay, so we have 假道伐虢. 假 means borrow. It came from this person sign. You can see person sign, pretty high frequency use, because a lot of things we talk about in our language is about human behavior. So human naturally embedded in there. And we have this almost like elongated question mark thing with a long neck. That's a dead body, supposedly animal, dead body. And here is a small portion of that, almost like, okay, this is the head of the dead body, almost like taking off the face of the body. But okay, that with a 3-finger hand symbol means this skinning. Did I pronounce it right? Skinning practice of the animal skin. I mean, it sounds pretty bloody, but I guess in a hunter-gatherer society, okay, when we get protein, we get meat, right? Before domestic animal was popular, you have to go hunt, and hunted beast or whatever meat source for us, that is, the first step is to skin them, to take off the skin so that you can get to the meaty layer, right? So this dead body with the skin, like a partial skin already taken off with your hand, this is the skinning process. And I'm not exactly sure what those 2 horizontal lines, it looks like the rib cage of that animal. But on the right side, it sounds like a 假. I can also read it as, instead of just skinning the animal, but some portion of that animal dead body, you are going to borrow, to loan it to somebody. It could be like in the hunter-gatherer society, the hunters are going to hunt, and the meat source, when it comes in, is going to, I mean, it depends on the result of the hunting, right? It's not guaranteed. Versus the farmers or gatherers, they probably have more steady source of whatever they gather or farmed, right? Or harvest. So there is this, time-wise inequality. So whenever the hunters got their meat source in, they're going to trade it with the farmers or gatherers, and which, I mean, on their end, they may or may not have their side of offerings available at the same time. So that becomes this borrow. So instead of a real-time transaction, I gave you grains from last year, and you give me a piece of meat. Instead of that, okay, I'm going to note down like so-and-so borrowed this piece of meat from me because it's freshly captured and freshly distributed among my village, right? So this practice of meat distribution on the loan, and you're going to pay back eventually. Imagine it's farmers, it's going to take a long time. But I would imagine it's most likely gatherers, because farmers probably they already have domestic animal meat source, stable meat source figured out at the same time of farming, right? It's containing the plant, containing the animal for food purpose. So probably it's more like the hunter-gatherer society, this meat distribution on the loan concept. Okay, pretty, that's my imagination. I have to check the anthropology, about that, but this is kind of evidence in the language. I can argue that, like, this is one possible reading of why this means borrow. And this is between people, right? So this is borrow, the original borrow piece of meat. And then dao, we have this food symbol, cactus sign, 3 toes, and this is the arch. So this is Chinese way of abstracting foot. And 3 strokes in the same direction, same curve. That means recurring footsteps. So footsteps plus foot, simply walking. Walking, and then we have the right side is a head symbol. The head with the hair. Okay, these are the hair. I don't know, it looks like somebody either falling from a high ground that have their hair, anti-gravity kind of flowing like that. I don't know, but this is the face frame, the whole face frame. But instead of drawing your whole, we call it 5 features on the face. 五官, so 5 visible features on your face. That's too much. We only draw 2. Actually, only draw 1 here. So this is nose bridge, and 2 nostrils right below. So basically, it's this part. So imagine the whole face frame over here, and it will only zoom in to this nose bridge with 2 nostrils, which also kind of vertically stacked, kind of a directional switch as well. It's pretty abstract, right? And a lot of things are left out, but that's the capture of the whole face. And the face with the hair, that's our head representation. And we also have a head without hair version, but here is just a head with hair. I don't know what's the signifier of the hair here. Like somebody who has long hairs, does it mean this is a fully grown person? Does it mean this is a person who are still like in their prime years, that they haven't lost their hair yet? We don't know. But here is walking plus this hairy face or head. That becomes past. Actually, this Tao is, if you heard of Tao, T-A-O, that's probably one of the most recognized Chinese Romanized word in English vocabulary, because when we talk about Lao Tzu or when we talk about Eastern philosophy, a lot of time Tao is mentioned, and that is this character, Dao. Dao is the contemporary Chinese simplified version of pronouncing it, but I guess Tao can make sense as well. Basically, it's about somebody who is walking the life, and this haired head probably means that person has to be in tune with whatever the divine message or the order of the world, so that they can walk their unique life path according to this supreme design, like a pre-prescribed or scripted version of their life. I mean, not exactly. I need to retract what I said. Dao. I probably have done an episode about the Dao early on. It's about realizing your position in the universe, right? And follow the way. It was translated as the way, so that you're in harmony with the universe in relation to yourself, to others, to society, to your community, and also how the way the world works. That came with age, right? You can kind of hack it by educating yourself from early generations, what they realized in their later life, that life is too short, you cannot really apply what you learned at that too late. So as a younger person, when you come into, and come to the scene, you now have the life stage, what path you're going to take and how you're going to behave yourself. How are you to walk your life in your prime time, all right? Okay, let's just explain that way. Matters a lot. So this is kind of ancient philosopher, wise man, Lao Tzu, came up with this Tao, this idea of there is the way. So you better realize what's the way to do things, and things will become effortless. Almost like you don't need to force yourself to do certain way, because that's kind of anti the Tao, or like some other places you kind of twist yourself. So it's all complicated. But the essential idea is you come to this world, there are certain ways the world runs. You better set yourself on the right path, not to cross paths with the world. You kind of follow the path so that you be a positive member of the whole scheme of things. So that's the basic idea. And so eventually the way, like, it's quite abstract. It's like the right way to the path through life becomes materialized, applied to our, almost like a traffic, like your road, your freeway system, your transportation, right? So here, eventually it becomes like a pathway to places, becomes literally just the road. And here translated as path. So borrow path so that you can attack. So attack, we have this person figure again. So instead of this time it's borrowing, this time is paired with weaponry. So this is a weapon symbol. It probably came from a certain ancient commonly used weaponry. And according to some scholars, this is not far from farming device. So I guess in farming, you kind of need to cut things as well, right? Cut, chop, slice, whatever devices you probably need to use. And that plant-targeted device can be used on humans as well, right? To hurt your enemy. So that kind of a converted farming tool into a weaponry is captured in this. So we have human plus weapon, and that means armed force, right? And that armed force, what they are going to do is to attack. Happen to be attacked, they can defend as well, right? So here in this context is to attack. And fa, actually, it does mean attack, offense, rather than defense. So this is attack only. 国, okay, this is a ancient kingdom name. I, as a multi-decade Chinese language user, I don't use it. Okay, and I don't see it that often, except in set phrases like this, because this kingdom, well, no longer, long time ago, like no longer in existence, and it's not part of our life. Like we don't really need to evoke this ghost of kingdom into our lives, right? So, but here in the storytelling, they hold their existence in this phrase. 国 is this kingdom name. It came from this tiger image, and there is another human figure here, and we have this top hand holding, I mean 3-finger hand side view, kind of looking like this, right? And we have 3-finger hand symbol look like this here, and we have an indicator that means 1 inch down from the wrist, which is our pulse detecting position, and that means you kind of need to measure, have a certain standard and measure to carry out a certain thing. So something related to hand and have a tiger and human in it, a lot packed into this word. I'm pretty sure it means something. It probably had something to do with the origin of this family. Like somebody probably contained a tiger, so that's kind of their hero in their bloodline, and somebody who is very handy doing something, right, with their hand, but they also do it in a measured way. They always know what's the best, what's the boundary, something like that. So it's a whole story of like their family history condensed, family lore condensed in a frame. And now this family is gone. We don't exactly know what happened to that lineage. Okay, 假道伐虢 simply means this story that ever happened. Probably in contemporary geopolitical struggle, if you want to apply it to a bigger scheme, it could happen again, or this strategy could be referred to. Okay. So here, this image is the end of that story. The beginning of that story is, let's see, A, B, C kingdom. Okay, A want to attack C. It has to borrow the B as a pathway. But what's the benefit? Like B, why you let A to pass the enemy through by your gate, through to the enemy? That's kind of risky and unnecessary, right? There's no reason for that. So what the leader of the A came up with a scheme of giving the best treasured thing. I forgot what exactly that. Probably some kind of artwork or something that's prized at that time, regarded as the best treasure ever. So this A would bribe the leader of the B by giving them the most prized whatever artifacts to the B. Say, I know we're good, we're good like brothers or something, like I like to make you happy, something like that, right? And B, leader, crave this thing for a long time and happily receive it. Okay, now the next step, A went pass through B to attack C. They succeeded, they win the war, and on their way back, they pass back to the gate of B again. And now B kind of befriended with the A's leader, opened their gate, welcomed the winning army of their friendly, brotherhood kingdom, and kind of had a party. So a portion of that army went into the gate to have this party to celebrate the victory. And some other armies were stationed outside to rest, to wait until the party is over, and then they go back to their A kingdom. So here, instead of instead of what B's leader thought about this lovely brotherhood, they got killed inside at a party. With the armed force of A came in within their gate, and also here is army stationed outside the gate to attack from the outside as well. So both inside and outside the gate, unified the army of A, battled and killed out, I guess, the B. And then the leader retrieved whatever the prized treasures from B's leader as well, as back to them as they wipe out B. So that's the strategy story. It's almost like a 连环计, right? The last one is like the leader came up with the strategy that's multi-step, and you give some little benefits. It's almost like a irresistible prize first to buy a goodwill. So B was on a goodwill to A, right? And therefore kind of lowered down their guard. And so when A was trying to attack B, B was lowering the guard, and that's the weak point under the facade of a friendship. So this is 假道伐虢. It almost feels like the Trojan horse Chinese version. But it's different. It's different. It's built on the vanity and probably stupidity of the leader B, who took the bribe and take the bite, and eventually lose his own life and his kingdom. All right, we kind of ended at 2022 in this twisted plot of how you can 假道伐虢. But trust me, it's not commonly used in the current contemporary Chinese, and probably that strategy, I don't know, we don't probably need to use that in our daily life. But it's good to know as a historical reference as to what far, like how far the ancient warlords have to go to win the war. They really had to think hard how to best use their resources. In this case, it's the prize, the treasure, use that as a bait, right? And eventually win the war with the lowest risk, highest return. So it's the same mechanism as business, right? Competitive environment, how you're going to survive, how you're going to gain your ground with all kinds of devices. And maybe we don't need to deploy any of these in our daily life, but it's just good to know. Cash into the currency of thinking by one word a day with Sophie. See you another day in another year.